Hello, Park Ridge. I wanted to encourage you today, Wednesday Encouragement. And in doing so, I want to read for you from the book of James. We're going to start a new study in James this Sunday called Faith Matters. So hear the word of God from James chapter 1, verses 19 and following. Know this, my beloved brothers, let every person be quick to hear, slow to speak, slow to anger. For the anger of man does not produce the righteousness of God. Therefore put away all filthiness and rampant wickedness, and receive with meekness the implanted word, which is able to save your souls. But be doers of the word, and not hearers only, deceiving yourselves. For if anyone is a hearer of the word and not a doer, he is like a man who looks intently at his natural face in a mirror. For he looks at himself and goes away at once, and at once forgets what he was like. But the one who looks into the perfect law, the law of liberty, and perseveres, being no hearer who forgets, but a doer who acts, he will be blessed in his doing. If anyone thinks he is religious and does not bridle his tongue, but deceives his heart, this person's religion is worthless. Religion that is pure and undefiled before God the Father is this: to visit orphans and widows in their affliction, and to keep oneself unstained from the world. One scholar has referred to the book of James as a book that is filled with reliable, relational, and relevant religion. And I hope that as we study through the book of James, we will gather from it the cues and understandings that God has for us. James is one of those books that throughout the centuries some have loved and some have greatly disliked. They've seen it as a legalistic, rigid, works-based kind of book. But really, if you read the book of James, you come to understand that it is a book that helps us see what the outflow of our faith will look like, because our faith matters. And there are matters of the faith that form us and shape us and mold us into the people that God's calling us to be. God has not called us to sit idly by and watch the world go past, hoping that it will be more like us and more like God. God has called and placed us in the world so that we might be salt and light, making a difference, those of us who know Christ, so that the world might come to know him as well. I hope that our weeks of study in the book of James will be a reminder for those of us who know, and that it would reinvigorate us to the call that God has placed on our lives to make a difference in our world. We're continuing to move forward in understanding what it'll look like to reopen our church for worship. Those details are not yet worked out, but here's what I would ask. Be patient with us. We're working hard. We want to be reopened. We want to be back together with God's people, worshiping face to face in person in the presence of God. But we are going through days and details of times that are completely unprecedented in our lifetime. We've not had these kinds of experiences, COVID, pandemic, etc. So we don't know what we don't know. We're talking to government officials. We're in conversation with other churches and friends around the country who are a little bit ahead of us, and so they have an opportunity to test drive this. We don't really want to be the first church that opens, but we also don't want to be the last church that opens. And so we promise to keep you posted. We promise to do everything to be as safe as possible. And we know that we're going to be opening hopefully sooner as opposed to later. So thank you for your prayers. Thank you for your excitement and encouragement. And until that time, just hang in with us. Keep tuning in on all these video opportunities and social media opportunities. Keep inviting your friends to come and be a part of what God is doing here. Keep praying for each other and ministering to one another through the telephone and through social media and through email and through any ways that you can to encourage the saints all the more as the day approaches. First for our return to worship, and ultimately Maranatha for God's return to earth that will come at some point. So we rejoice as we wait to see what God is going to do in and through us, and probably in spite of us as well. God bless you guys for the balance of this week, and I hope that as Sunday approaches, you will prepare your hearts to worship the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. God bless you.